Okay, so I do have an agenda. We don't have a chair right now. We do have Kay, who is our vice chair, and we'll be running the meeting this evening. I just want to note that if anyone is here joining us this evening, if they're on the Zoom, they can use the raise hand function if they have any questions. And if they're calling in on the phone, they can use *9, and that will raise their hand as well. Also, I have my cell phone, which is 617-639-4150. If anybody wants to call with any questions. And then our Assistant Director, Ken Kirkland, is also here. I just want to quickly introduce him to everybody. He started in August, and he'll be part of this team as well moving forward. And you can email him at kkirkland@braintreema.gov, and he will monitor that this evening for any questions that don't come in through the other methods that we just described. So I will turn it over to you, Kay. And I suggest that we start with a roll call for attendance.
Okay, is there anything official that I need to say, Melissa?
You can just call out the members' names, and they'll denote that they're here. And then the ones that are not here, we will just note them as absent.
Okay. Erin. Is Erin here?
Absent.
Absent, okay. Julia?
Here.
Steve?
Here.
Peter?
Here.
Shelley?
Here.
David?
Here.
Shayna?
She'll be absent this evening, Kay.
Okay. Liz?
Here.
Raina?
Here.
And Jennifer?
Here.
Okay. So we are just missing Erin and Shayna. Is that correct?
Yep, I'll have the record reflect that.
Okay. Next order of business looks like an introduction of Jennifer.
Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jennifer Wadland. I've been in Braintree since 2005. Happy to be here. I was on the residents working group with a few of you, Steve. So I've been involved for a while now. So happy to be here and serve.
Well, we're glad to have you. All right. So because stepped down, going to need chair. Know exactly, Melissa, how this works in terms of format.
Okay.
If you
yeah, I wouldn't mind at all.
guide.
Okay, so we at the first meeting we organized the Master Plan Steering Committee designated both a chair and a vice chair. Since that time, the chair has decided to opt out of being on the Master Plan Steering Committee. So what I think would be appropriate now, if there are any nominations for chair, those people can come forward and make those nominations. And then we can vote a new chair tonight.
Okay. Is there anyone who would like to make a nomination for chair?
I think Liz has her hand up.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't see that. Hi, Liz.
Okay. Hi. Yes, I would like to nominate Jen Wadland to be the chairperson. For anyone that might not know Jen, she is employed as a high-level manager for a computer company and has great leadership skills. Excuse me. She is a result-oriented person. And as she said earlier, she worked on the residents working group to make and review and make recommendations on the comprehensive zoning plan. And like the rest of us, Jen shares our love for the town of Braintree. So I hope you will join me and vote for Jen as chairperson.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other nominations?
Okay, so I guess we can take a vote. Does-
Yep, we can move forward with a vote. Sorry, but we have to do roll call again because of the Zoom.
Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
All right, so I'm sorry, I'm so new to the formalities.
No, that's okay, Kay. Just again, read the members' names for those in favor of supporting the nomination for Jennifer Wadland as chair.
Okay, I don't know if I can see. All right, so I just call everyone's, they say yay or nay. Is that how that works?
Yep, that's appropriate.
All right, Julia.
Yay.
Okay. Steve,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Shelley,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Liz.
Yes.
All right, Raina,
Yes.
Jennifer,
You're on mute.
We can skip her.
Yes.
all right, and I vote yes as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. So then what do we do for, I mean, I guess
We're good.
majority.
So we
Okay.
had one nomination. Everyone has supported that nomination. So congratulations, Jen.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
If you want to take over now as the new chair. and
Okay.
Continue with the agenda. Thank you.
Okay. So, I actually don't have the agenda in front of me. Did you send that via email?
I did. I sent a whole
Okay.
packet. Yep.
Hold on.
I can forward it to you.
Nope. I can.
And you can get it from the town. You can go to the town website too.
Okay.
We have a whole page set up that we've been starting to populate, or I can just tell you, there's only 2 more items.
I was gonna say, you could just tell her.
Okay.
Master
the next
plan
item,
update on the master plan RFP and
Yes, yep.
Okay. So the next is the master plan update on the RFP, and who is giving the update?
If I may, Madam Chair. So as we know, we put out the RFP in the spring. There was quite a few people that took out the solicitation. I would say there was maybe about 40 firms, and 10 of them were like these kind of clearing houses, we call them, sort of third parties that take them out for, and they call up all the consultants and say, oh, we have this RFP. So we didn't receive any responses. Disappointment's a friendly, nice word of how we felt here. I mean, I was like ready to run out in the parking lot and be like, if somebody comes at 12:02, you know, can we take it? So had some discussions with the mayor, had some discussions with our chief of staff. And I also called some of the consultants that did take out the RFP. And I kind of just have some quick points that I want to touch on. And, you know, some of them it wasn't nice to hear what they had to say. Some of the consultants said that they did some online research and that the sentiment of the community was anti-development, and that they didn't see a willingness of the community to sort of collaborate and work together to move forward in a master planning process. Some of the other consultants said that they were too busy. There was a round of grants that had gone out. Actually, Braintree received one of those for the local rapid recovery program through the Department of Housing and Community Development for South Braintree Square. I think Peter participated in some of the surveys and things that we conducted down there. And a lot of the consultants in these planning firms, in these, we call them subject matter experts, were working on those. Those plans were due last Friday, so that is kind of completed. So hopefully that frees up some of these consultants. Another one of the questions, or another one of the things was, the political climate in the community, and, there was new administration and people weren't sure about, getting involved. Again, did not like hearing that at all. Couple things about the RFP. One consultant said that it wasn't clear if we had phase 1 and phase 2, if the phases would be awarded separately. So like one consultant could get phase 1 and another one could get phase 2. So that was something that we've corrected in the revised draft. Another question that I asked them was, is it good to put the price in or not put, the money available that was appropriated? Again, people can look it up. It's public record. And most of the feedback that I got actually was, you should include it, because the more money you have, the more that goes into the public participation plan. So I really, really liked hearing that, because we do have a very good budget. A lot of other communities, I've been doing some research and stuff, they have like 150, 160,000. So I know how important the public participation piece is to the town and the committee. So I think including that is something that we have in the revised draft. Another thing, some feedback that we got was, we put it out with a 4-week turnaround, and some of the consultants indicated that they need more time. So they get the RFP, and it was kind of funny. They're all scrambling to get the best experts in the different topics so they can form this quote team that then would be the team of consultants that would serve Braintree. And that takes time. In contracts between these different firms and agreements of who's going to be responsible for what. And they said you should do 5-6 weeks minimum if you want to be able to try to allow for that coordination on the consultant side. And then one of the last things, again, I asked some sort of different questions, and I was very honest and open with people and said, look, negative, positive, constructive, tell me, like, even if it pains you to say it, please, because we want to try to do the best that we can here. And the last question was around the time frame. And most people said, really 18 months. You really, really want 18 months. So I know we want to get this done and we want to move as quickly as we can. But again, I don't want to put 15 months and people can't do it in 15 months. So we don't get any responses. So that was kind of the, Reader's Digest version of the data that I had collected. So what I have done, which was also circulated, did everyone get the email with the agenda and okay, great. So I have I call this the Reader's Digest version of the RFP, short, sweet, to the point, has all the required elements to meet the public procurement requirements, and then really trying to attract some good responses, and then start to drill down. We were heavy on detail, and a lot of comments did come back from the master plan committee. Some very, very good comments, and I would say about 90% of them were incorporated. And the document got very long. It got voluminous. It got maybe even had a tone to it that sort of generated some of these comments that I received from the consultants. So I basically put together, it's still 30 pages, that's short, but put together the main points, including the main components of the plan, and really I'm looking, to get some very, very minimal feedback. The mayor has directed me to get this thing out as soon as possible, and that's really what I'm tasked with doing. I'm going to be advertising or sending over to the bulletin, goods and services bulletin, which is where this needs to be posted. Send it over next Wednesday, so it'll be advertised on the 25th. Also available on the website the 25th, and noticed in the Patriot Ledger on the 25th as well. So we went with a very long broad, encompassing document, and it wasn't successful. I looked at I actually asked some of the consultants of, there are some other towns, and some of these people I know as peers and I know professionally. I've worked with some of them in the past. They've done work in different communities, some, more well-known than others. And I called some people that I didn't know too, because I wanted to make sure that, somebody wasn't saying something because they didn't want to offend me or something like that. So that's basically the update. Like I said, the mayor wants this out, I want this out. We all want to get this going. And I'm really just trying to stay optimistic that this condensed, short and sweet version gets us some good results. And the people that I talk to, I'm like, we're going to be putting it back out, please keep an eye out on it, and, really share the sentiment of, this is really important to the community. We've got a great committee, and we really just want to, a quality consultant that can do the needed public participation, and really get a good document that we can use going forward. That's all I have this evening on the update, Madam Chair.
Okay, and, oh, go ahead. Do you have a question?
Raise my hand.
Yes.
I'm Raina. I did take a look at it, and I have to say I do kind of like the short and sweet version. And it occurred to me also that in a way it's better for us too, because once we hire a consultant, it gives us a little more flexibility to, craft it and make sure that it'll be the way we want. It doesn't, tie us up ahead of time too much. And, I think, it also gives them a little more space to present what they think is the best approach from their professional standpoint, which I like to see myself, so I like, I like this. So thank you for taking all the work, but I didn't have.
We post in public our current master plan so that the respondents, because our current master plan is not, it just needs to be updated. It's not in my opinion, right? It's a decent plan, but do we post that for respondents to see? Can they view what we've found acceptable in the past?
Yes. So the master plan is currently on the town website. It's under the planning page. And then in the solicitation, we include, which we're going to be putting up, thanks to Ken, he's got all these documents in one location, but you'll see there's quite a few documents. I am on page 10 and 11 of the draft, and we have master plans going back to the 60s, believe it or not. We have all the master plans. We have the Envision Braintree report from 2015. We have quite a few transportation reports, economic development, housing, open space, and some historic stuff. So all of that is going to be loaded up to the master plan steering committee page as well, and be provided to the the master plan. It has it has required elements. So and if you look at a master plan from 1998 and you look at one now, it still has all those elements, but the format, the graphics, like how a reader interacts with that document has changed. It was a lot of text and unlegible maps, frankly, back in I look at it now and I'm like, I can't even read this. So there was a lot of things that have been, we've progressed quite a bit in the world of graphics and digital and all the things that we can do. So, but that is on there, Madam Chair. And like I said, those other documents will be available as well.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments about this?
I have a question. Approximately how big is the pool of people or companies that we're aiming this request for in the first place?
I'm not sure I understand the question, Mr. Cunningham. Like how many people did we think we're going to look at it, or?
Approximately how many people or companies are out there that actually do master plan?
Oh, a lot. We had people take it out all over the country.
Would
Yeah.
would we be focusing on somebody locally or nationally?
Well, there might be somebody that is in another part of the country, but they have like the other people from their team would be here. So it's really hard to say. It's amazing. I'm just, because I work in the basement of town hall, it's amazing to me how people work so remotely and virtually and, do all these things from other sides of the world. Sometimes there's companies here that do planning projects in China and all over the world. So, we, in the RFP and in the criteria for selection, companies that have done master plans in Massachusetts, they're going to get weighted more, Mr. Cunningham. So if somebody's from California and they're, planning out in California for earthquakes and surfing and all that, that might not be overly pertinent, and they might not rank as high in the evaluation criteria. So that's where the distance and the experience may or may not help them in their scoring.
Okay. I mean, I'm still not quite understanding approximately how many consultants are out there that do master plans that might be the target audience of this proposal.
I couldn't tell you how many consulting firms are. I can tell you that like 40 took it out. So that's a lot. That's a decent number. And again, there could be independent consultants that team up with a GIS person, then they bring in a traffic person. So there's all forms of, even when we were doing the master plan, the comprehensive rezone, when we got those proposals back, there was a combination of like a planner, a lawyer, so there's all these different teams that, and how they would pair up or not pair up or where they are geographically. It's a public solicitation. So it's like, anybody can put in a proposal. When they see the criteria, they might say, well, I don't know if I'll score that well because I only have one example of a master plan in Massachusetts, and they might not want to, they might not think that they may think that they may not rank well. So people look at the criteria too, because you kind of want to know, like, should I even bother putting in a proposal? But the evaluation criteria is really trying to target Massachusetts and really New England companies that have worked in this area.
Is it common knowledge for people in the industry to know that there was no interest in the first request?
Well, when they see us put it back out, they'll know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Or they might think we didn't approve any. It could be for other reasons, like we don't have to make public.
They could. Yes. Yeah. Yep. That's a good point.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
Just when you were giving some feedback from some of the consultants, how do we preemptively, or do we even address kind of the fact that people are looking up in the news or in the media and are having kind of preconceived views about how the town is going to respond? Obviously anybody who's in business always want to hook their star to a good winning project, because nobody wants to write a master plan for a town that isn't listening to it or following it, or feels like, every turn they're going to make or any suggestions always going to be, like a wall coming up. Because that's kind of like when you were talking about that, it seems as though they might think that we're not as easy to work with as a different town, or not as willing, or the town itself has gone up against a lot of resistance. So, we might, be not getting the best candidates or the ones that we necessarily want, because they don't think will be as easy to work with and make them look as good. is that kind of right, interpreting it that way?
Yeah, yeah, Shelley, I don't know how I mean, the internet, it's just like, as you were talking, it's like everything we do now, you research on the internet first. Oh, I heard that place was good. Let me look at the menu. Oh, I want to get these shoes. They got them down the street. And, it's like, it's almost like, it's like scary because nobody does anything anymore without doing all this research. So it's like, I
Correct.
don't know how Fred Hanson's here as an attendee, we can maybe ask him to stop writing stories about Braintree, but I really don't know how we could get around that. Unfortunately, I don't have that answer.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know about the answer. I mean, I don't know about the answer, but it's obviously feedback and constructive criticism, but it also might be something in which we can look at as a town to say, we want to all play nice in the sandbox together to get what we all want. Right.
Yeah.
By doing this, we're all trying to make Braintree better, clearly, right? Yeah, I just didn't know if it was just something that people didn't want to necessarily touch us because they didn't want to be involved in, scandal or holdups or,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those are good points. Again, I've tried to restructure the RFP to be.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I get it.
Kind of just neutral and really not have much of a tone, because if they're doing research and then read the solicitation, they could start to, and the consultants, they talk to one another too, just like everybody in the professions and
Of course, yeah.
and how the businesses we all operate and what we do, we talk to different peers and, oh, I had a good experience here, a bad experience there. And, I'm just really trying to be positive and, just move forward and just hope that, this kind of sweet and to the point request is actually seen like that. And,
Perfect,
maybe there's people that took it out before and they'll look at it again and they'll be like, oh, maybe there's kind of a shift here. Maybe there isn't the things that we thought. We can just try to do our best and really I'm asking everybody to just please pray that we get some really good
and
responses.
and there could be somebody that wasn't available then that's available now.
Exactly.
So the same thing could happen. All right. Yep. Perfect. Thanks, Melissa.
Liz has a question.
Yeah, kind of a comment. I feel like it's a little bit unfortunate that perception is out there, because I think what we're failing to recognize here is that at the previous master plan or the comprehensive zoning plan, that there was a big problem because the residents weren't part of the process. And now we want to make sure that everybody that wants to be part of the process is being considered as part of the process. And so, I think it's a little bit unfair to paint the town in one way when it really wasn't presented to the town properly the last time. So I think if somebody comes forward and has public participation right off the bat, you're going to be more well received than the previous attempt.
I think Raina has a question.
Yeah, I'm listening to you guys, and you all make kind of good points, and I'm wondering, and I don't know, maybe this isn't appropriate, but if there would be like if we want to put something in the RFP statement from the committee about wanting to work, being on a steering committee, working in good faith with a consultant in the town, and this is our effort to, something like that actually states something positive. Can we put like I don't know, we don't want to do a whole cover letter, but maybe just a little statement of good faith. I don't know if you guys agree, but it kind of sounds like we want that message out there.
Melissa, did we do a pre-bid meeting where we had companies come in and we tell them what our plan is and present to them so they have more of a perspective than maybe what they heard from the comprehensive zoning consultants who, it probably didn't fare well?
Madam Chair, we typically do that in like a low bid situation where we're trying to, this is the responses will be ranked on the quality, and then we open up the prices. So we do that, like if we want to take somebody out to, I'll use an example, Elm Street Cemetery.
Right.
And this is what you're going to be bidding on. This is the site. It's like a site visit almost, so that they can, but we typically, those are typically not done for RFPs. I mean, if somebody called me, I would be like, this, we want a consultant. This is, we're going a different direction. We have a new mayor. Like, there would be a whole list of things that would be shared with them, which when I spoke to these people on the phone, we're putting it back out. We've got a great team. We're so optimistic. I've got a new assistant direct, there's a lot of different components that have changed in just a few years. So I'm trying to emphasize those without sounding, desperate. I just like,
well, maybe if we don't get responses, we might need to do like a presentation to the group, the population that could be bidding, about our willingness to work, because they might think, we'll run them out with pitchforks, right? Like we did for the last one, right? So maybe we might have to do that and do a little pitch of our own and what we're looking for to try to lure some solid responses. And it looks like also Christine has said do an informational meeting. I don't know if everyone else can see that.
It was in the chat.
In the chat. Yeah, Christine, I guess, concurred that we should do an informational meeting. But since it's going out and you've got all these plans, I don't want to put any kinks in the process here, but put it out. And if we don't get a response, then maybe it's important.
If the committee wants to add an informational session, and I would suggest maybe the chief of staff, the chair, Ms. Wadland, and myself, and the people just come in and we're just straight into the point of, this is what we're looking to accomplish. This is the environment, this is the climate. I don't have a problem with doing that. I would suggest we do it maybe like halfway through the solicitation, or we could do it, maybe we'll put it out, give people a chance to see it. And then we could do something, maybe 2 weeks later.
Yeah,
In my experience, I haven't seen any solicitations that included that, but that doesn't mean we can't do it.
And maybe we don't need it. I mean, maybe you put it out and we get
Well,
some
if you put
fabulous
it in the
responses.
If you put it in the RFP as like a date, like there's all these dates in there, we would have to hold it. But that's fine. I mean, so we hold a meeting for an hour upstairs in Cahill, or we can even do it on Zoom.
That's what I'm thinking, especially if you think we could get some solid responses from like Oregon, not that they know Braintree and maybe they get the rating is too low for them to win, but it might be a good virtual meeting to say, this is what more what we need to tell them, but so they get more of a feel for the residents really do want to work with the consultants, because I could understand, especially attending those comprehensive zoning meetings, that if I was the consultant standing there, I'm just, I'm not knowing that the residents don't want this. I'm not knowing that there's animosity. I'm not knowing any of it. And I feel like I would have left town hall like, oh my God. So I feel like maybe that's what's preventing some good, solid, and so, an informational session may be great to throw in there, and we could work on a date and a presentation.
So the RFP will be available on Monday, October 25th. So the following week, I'm just, excuse me, looking at my calendar here. The 8th and 9th, excuse me for 1 second. I just have to get my other calendar here.
I would suggest not making it too soon. Because sometimes people need a little time. Having done some consulting like this, people tend to wait to the last minute. But I think if you do it by Zoom, that's a really good idea because it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. So I was thinking, about, how about Wednesday, November 10th? That'll give people 2.5 weeks. I could do the 8th and the 9th, but I have community preservation one night and planning board the other night. And I just try to, stuff comes up last minute and I just try to stay somewhat focused on those days because they're really long days too. But we could do something on the 10th. I would get the Zoom link. It would be in the RFP. We'd have it all set up. That way, anybody that gets it has the same, everybody has to be like on the, same playing field and have all the same information. So unless anybody is strongly opposed to that or wants to discuss it more, I can go ahead and set that up and include it.
Is it appropriate to take a vote? Is that what we should be doing? Yes, okay. Steve is
Well, I
saying
was
yes.
wondering if we take a vote on the whole RFP with this change, maybe? And
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
what do you think of that?
Okay, and,
I'm flexible either way.
okay. And of course,
Is there a time that works better, Madam Chair, or do you want to talk offline about timing?
I am probably better in the evening. But if we need to do it during the day, I can do it during the day. I can squeeze it in on Zoom calls all day long. So I can make that work. So you just tell me,
Maybe you
you know,
want to
there's-
check in with the other, like the chief of staff or whoever else you said needs to. You think
Yeah,
should
why don't
be-
we say 2 o'clock, 2 p.m.?
so yeah, it needs to be during the workday. And are people opposed to that? Like maybe a show of hands, is anyone opposed to joining at like a 2? No one's, Steve's opposed?
No.
Oh,
It's
okay.
typical
I just
to
want to
do it during
clarify.
the workday. It's typical that it would be during the workday, I think, right?
Right, I would think.
Yeah.
I would, yeah.
For the
Right.
consultants.
Can we clarify? I thought what I heard Melissa say was it would be a smaller group of people, like
Yep.
perhaps just Jen and the chief of staff. So our availability shouldn't matter.
Yeah, I
I'd like to
don't want,
watch. I would tune in.
yeah, I think that,
Yeah.
I think it's probably best to have, a couple people to just sort of, short and sweet. And again, just kind of keep it, give people maybe, I mean, they really, I want to try, well, we might have to issue addendums, who knows, but I want to try to keep, the process as smooth as possible. But just a chance for us to just kind of state our position, and be truthful and honest that we have an approach and we have goals and desires, and that we can work collaboratively with consultants and build consensus and all those other great things that they're going to want to hear from us.
Okay.
Okay, maybe we can get together, Melissa, to maybe I can pop in and we can just get a working agenda, like what you want me to present, what you want to present, what needs to be in this presentation. It does the chief of staff need to speak? Like we'll just kind of work out a flow, just so we have a plan. And
Okay.
Steve is raising his hand.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. So I've known Jen for years now, and I fully trust her to speak for this group, but nobody can speak for this committee unless the committee takes a vote by majority to allow, and I think this is one where we should actually take a vote and make sure that everybody's okay with this.
I agree. I
Yes.
don't want to speak for anybody without consent too, but so
I would make a motion that we allow Chair Wadland to meet with the consultants however they deem best and speak on behalf of this committee.
I second that
Seconded.
motion.
Could I just add something? Could we see what you end up, preparing ahead of time and
Mhm.
comment? I mean, I don't think we should all be talking. I definitely agree. the chair-
absolutely. I think that's a
on behalf of the
great
committee,
idea.
but it'd be nice if
Sure.
we could just add our, make some comments. like we
I'm
have.
really anal about preparation, so I
No,
will have it down well in advance, and then I can send it out to all of you. And if there's any changes, any concerns, anything, then I will add those in.
That would be nice, yeah.
I agree. I totally agree. Yep. Okay, so how do I initiate the vote?
Well, we have a motion and we have a second. And we have
Okay.
discussion.
Okay, so now we can have a vote.
Roll
Okay.
call.
And now I can only see who's on the screen in front of me. So I'm gonna miss people, I think, in this call. So
Well, do you want
Madam
Melissa
Chair,
to call the names?
I
Would you
think that
like
would be
me-
better.
Yeah,
And I will have it right next time.
okay. Let me get my list here. So there's been a motion made and seconded to allow Madam Chair Wadland to speak at the conference on behalf of the committee. And all those in favor by roll call vote signify by saying aye. Member Young,
Yes, aye, sorry, aye.
Member Flaherty? Julia actually
She
left. Yeah, okay. We'll just note for the record that she left around 7. Well, we'll get the time. Member Sasha,
Yes.
Member Herbst,
Aye.
Member North,
Aye.
Member Cunningham,
Aye.
Member Page,
Aye.
Member Rubin,
Aye.
and the chair.
Aye.
And we'll have the record reflect that Member Joyce, Member Monroe, and Member Flaherty were not participating in the vote.
Do we want to go ahead and make a motion now to accept the redraft of the master plan RFDP with the addition of, a pre-bid conference?
And would you also, would the committee like a little preamble, kind of like a feel good type of statement, or do we want to leave that out?
I still like the idea, but nobody else cares, then we don't need it.
Is it something that's normally done or occasionally done?
I mean, I don't think it can hurt, just a couple really strong statements about, collaboration and willingness and building consensus. And, I could in the, let me just look quickly, if you wouldn't mind. We have the community background section. So in the I think I'll add it in the community background and project overview. We talk about the master plan. The America Chorus has an 11-member master plan steering committee, and we can kind of just,
That's section C,
yeah, just,
introduction.
yeah, section C and D, I think is probably where it's best inserted. And again, just a few sentences. I don't think it needs to be anything overkill that it kind of stands out as like, why are they putting this in there? But I don't think it would hurt a few short and sweet sentences. I mean, Rain has done quite a bit of consulting in the planning world. And I think that's just from my opinion, if it matters, I think it's a good suggestion.
Sure.
Do we get to see the sentences? Would everybody want to see what those statements are before, or
I would
is that?
trust Melissa, but maybe you just want to look at them.
Yeah, I mean, I can share them with you, Jen, if you want. Again, I'm like, get this out is, and I will be out of town next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So I can put together something, or if you would like to put together I'm flexible with, if you'd like to propose something. Again, I don't think there's any right or wrong. I want it to be appropriate and not to, not swaying anything too much either way.
Sure.
Just a kind of a willingness, openness, creative dialogue, collaboration, and those types of things. So I have no problem putting something together and sharing it with the chair. I can see by the membership that Jen is in her expertise and is very valued by the committee. Or if you would like to write it, Madam Chair, and I can insert it, I'm flexible either way.
So I don't mind writing it. are we like emphasizing that we have community support for a master plan and the residents are involved and there is a committee that's been established to work with the consultant on
Well-
behalf of the residents? What is the statement that you
The
think would be
that's
effective?
already in the master plan, the background about the master plan is already in there.
Mhm.
And you know, working with residents, I mean, that's like expected,
A
you know,
given,
that,
right,
yeah,
right.
it's a given, you know, so just something that, you know, dresses it up a little bit, you know, adds a little bit of a, something that, you know, something that when you know, a lot of this stuff is like due on this day, blah, 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 blah. These are the sections, something that might, you know, draw their attention to, oh, they're really thoughtful to include this here, I think is appropriate.
You want me to try it and then send it to you, Jen and Melissa?
I'm totally flexible. I default to the committee. You know, I got enough work to keep me busy for 2 years. So if somebody else wants to work together, or if Raina and Jen want, I mean, I'll default to you guys.
Steve has a question too.
I was just going to suggest, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I was just going to suggest anybody that wants to contribute to that sentence or two, maybe just send you their thoughts and you can compile it together. And I would trust you to just pull it all together in a
Okay.
reasonable way.
So anyone on this call right now, and Raina, since you are a consultant that has experience here, I have computer RFP experience, so a little bit different. There's no warm and fuzzies in that, but I am, like, if Raina has some experience with this, then I am happy to take that info and anybody else that has any statements. I don't want to say something, you know, I'm not really used to the warm and fuzzy in an RFP, but I think it might make sense because we got no responses and that we might have a bad reputation.
I mean, Melissa, before we get too far, what's your deadline that you need something from us, and we'll back it up so that we have time to draft it, review it.
I need it like immediately. You know, I need it. So tonight's Wednesday. If I can have something we close at 1 on Friday. I work on stuff.
Do something tomorrow.
Weekend.
I'll try and get something tomorrow. Jen, make sure, I don't know if I have your email, make sure, I'll probably send it to Melissa to help get it to you, but I'll try and get you something, you know, and then you can massage it, because it's just a couple cents, not even.
That would be great. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that before I sneak away for a few days, I want to make sure it's tight. I don't want to be like hanging anything for the Friday, because if I'm out for 3 days, Friday is going to be chaos when I get back. So I really want to make sure that this is really tight and ready to go, because we're going to be, you know, we've put out the advertisements.
Okay. I'm going to supply my work email address. It's just I'm on it 24/7 versus my personal email, which I let go because I'm on my work all the time. So I will send that out so everyone can reach me on that.
So we still have a motion on the floor.
Okay, so the motion is to amend. Well, did we vote on the?
Accept the redraft
Right.
master plan RFP.
Right.
With the addition of an information session to prospective proposers and an introductory sentence on the steering committee and towns.
Okay.
I don't know how to say it.
So Melissa, can you go through the vote just because I don't have everyone's name?
Yep. 1 second. I'm just taking some notes. Okay. So there's been a motion made. Was there a second on that motion?
Second.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sasha. So there's been a motion made by Member Rubin, seconded by Member Sasha, to accept the RFP with the inclusion of a conference about 2 or so weeks out of the issuance, and also adding a very short paragraph, couple sentences about the town and sort of their approach to this master planning process. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye. By roll call, Member Young,
Aye.
Member Sasha,
Yes.
Member Herbst,
I,
Member North,
Aye.
Member Cunningham,
Aye.
Member Page,
Aye.
Member Rubin,
Aye.
and Chair Wadland.
Aye. Yes, Raina.
Sorry to jump in again. I wanted to ask you, Melissa, or I'll wait till you're done.
No, go ahead, I'm listening. Mhm.
I know last time, remember, we had a couple of us were willing to be part of the evaluation committee. Do we need to decide that tonight?
No, that was already voted on at the last meeting.
Okay, so we'll just have the same,
Yeah,
but
Yep.
that wasn't Lori,
no, she was not on it.
was it
No.
UK? Who was it? Was me?
No,
I'm gonna go to the minutes right now. Hold
I
on for
think,
1 second.
was it Shelley? It might have
I
been
think-
Shelley.
Oh, Shelley, okay.
Shelley and Raina, I think.
It
Yeah,
was
Yeah,
me,
I'm pretty
and I
sure it was
cou- I
me.
thought I
Yeah,
couldn't
me.
remember who.
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any reason to change that. Obviously, we needed to elect a new chair because we lost our chair. But nope, that still stands. And I think that, there's no reason to revote that at this point.
And is the last point on the agenda that we need to approve the minutes of May 27th, right?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Steve?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I do have a couple of issues that I'd like to raise, so I don't know if you'd like me
Sure.
to do that now.
Sure.
So we have not really decided how we're going to meet. So we met in person. We're meeting on Zoom. I think that's a discussion that this group should have because, like we talked about last time, the point of this group is to bring as many people in as possible. And I don't know if there's a perfect answer for how to do that, but I do think it's something that we need to decide as a group. We have a request from a resident that came to the town council and the mayor's office to address school buildings, which will be in the master plan, and how it gets addressed is, open to debate. But my point is twofold. One is, as people want to bring things up, we need to be having regular meetings because we need to be able to discuss these things. The other thing is that we probably need some kind of email address so that people can contact the entire group directly. I know the resident working group had an email address like that and people used it, but I also seem to recall it took a long, long time to get it set up. And so that's probably something we should get moving on. But I think, the most important thing is that I think we need to be having regular meetings because technically speaking, we can't even, it requires a majority of this committee to even add something to the agenda. And we haven't delegated that authority to anybody. And I just think.
Why, excuse me, but why does it take a majority of the board to add something to the meeting?
Because we haven't delegated that authority to anybody. So typically you would have to create a rule delegating that authority. You might delegate it to the president or to a secretary, but unless the committee agrees by majority to delegate it, then everything has to be decided by a majority vote.
Yeah, that's respectfully, that's so unproductive. I would think that the chair.
I know, well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I
Okay.
assume that people are comfortable delegating some of that, but until the committee takes a vote, look, again, we are not required to follow open meeting laws. We are not required to use Robert's rules, but, I think
So,
it does not hurt this group to do everything we can to be open and public in all of our discussions and debates.
yeah, I definitely agree with that. As far as I think that, as the, first we're going to have the public participation part of we're going to get proposals back, and there's going to be, sort of a progression in that document. And I think that as that information is rolled out and provided from the consultant, I think that's probably going to dictate what we're going to be talking about at what meetings. We're not going to have a meeting about schools when they haven't even gotten to schools yet and things like that. So I think those are all important. I just think that we need to wait until we have the consultant to really drill down. We want to have them at as many meetings as possible. And we have to look at their schedule and really try to accommodate. There will be meetings that we have without them, but they will be involved in a lot of those meetings as well. Some of them will be much larger events, and then some of them will be, I'd call them kind of like a work session is a good way to describe it. And I really appreciate the optimistic thing of, people coming out and participating. And I really hope that happens, because I have to say, one of the things that is disappointing is the lack of public participation on a lot of different things in this community. And again, there's some people that are great at it and they go to a lot of meetings. You're one of them, Council Sasha. And then there's some other people that they just don't. And why, I have no idea. But I often wonder, why isn't this one here? Why isn't that one here? Why isn't this person here? So my suggestion, and through the chair, is that we designate a person to kind of sort of maybe be sort of the point person that is going to, facilitate. I'll be the one writing the agenda and posting it, but obviously vetting it. And typically that's the chair, or at least that's been my experience in government. But if there is some other avenue that needs to, transpire or be discussed, I think that's fine. But we need to make sure that we kind of keep things either that, or when we have a meeting, this is a good suggestion, was what's going to be on the next agenda. And you kind of, as a group, come up with a couple topics. And again, these aren't public hearings where we need to be so specific, but we want to be informational enough that the people that are interested in those subject matters and topics are there on those evenings. So we could have things on the agenda that says topics for next time, and whatever was going on with the consultant, or whatever we've moved past or not moved past or need to revisit, and we can approach it that way, because it's a little bit more, then the people at the meeting will hear it. It's a little bit public, but it allows people to at least participate in that. Otherwise, it's typically the chair that, we draft it, we send it to the chair says, yeah, that works. And then we go and post it in 14 different places.
Would it make sense? Because I think we did get, for the residents group, a lot of emails that would come in. And sometimes you notice there's a trend, like there's 4 people asking about a certain subject. Would it make sense? I could monitor the mailbox, and if there's like a request, or we're working on schools, or we're working on open space, that we then include some of the concerns. And
so the consultant's going to set up a website. There's going to be all different types of situation, so, there might be, the best way to do it is to have it on the website and have it on the, make a comment here. Because we want the consultant to see the comments at the same time as well. And then just a way to kind of make sure that those are shared. Some will be comments, some will be questions, some might just be like, hey, when you talking about this? But we've already started to set up, or at least I've asked Louise, I'm not sure if she's gotten to it yet. We have so many pages and websites, and to set up, we got permission to access the master plan steering committee page and sort of populate that. But there'll be a whole framework in which people can comment, view materials, drafts will be up. we're gonna have the minutes on the web. We can put them on there too, just so people can kind of like stay informed. Maybe somebody's interested in something and they say, oh, it looks like they talked about that on, February 7th, and then they can go to the minutes and see what it says. So there's going to be different, ways that people are going to approach the information. It's just, I think that the scope that the consultant that we choose and the scope that we end up finally going with is kind of going to dictate the subjects and sort of when they're spoken about and how we kind of move through the topics.
So the people that join the call, which is what we want, right? We want people from the community to get on these calls. So will the consultant address, if they keep seeing like some comments, address anything that comes up in the chat?
That's what, well, I think most of the larger events, the forums and stuff, those are going to be in person.
Okay.
Those will very likely be in person.
Because I think we need to take the public and we need to take the feedback, because that's when things erupt if we don't listen. So I just really want to make sure we do that.
Yeah. And we received, and again, we received a ton of public comment during the comprehensive rezone. We had the website, we had, we got a lot of public comment during that. I mean, we still have all the stuff. It's in 5 boxes. It's right next to my desk, but
I'm sure.
and that's for the that's part of the RFP. That's for the consultant to say, this is the best way, Braintree, for you to get the most public input. And it's probably going to be a variety of, there's going to be people that shoot an email off at 2:00 in the morning. And then there's going to be somebody that comes, raises their hands, asks questions, and like more actively participates. Some people want to just track things and want to know what's going on, but they really don't care to come to a meeting or to talk about anything, but they're interested in their own way. And making that information available to them is really what the consultant is tasked with doing.
Lots of questions. I didn't see who went first. Do you two know?
I'll defer to Raina.
I don't know who went first. Well, I was going to say kind of 2 things. One, there's 2 kinds of input here. One is input to the master plan, which is managed by the consultant. And then there's input to us as a steering committee. And now people will get some of those things mixed up. So a lot of things will get forwarded to the consultant, but then there are going to be some things that we're going to want to comment or address or consider too. So, but I think it's going to be hard, be mindful that it'll be probably sorted that way. We'll make it a little bit easier for us to manage, I think. And the other thing I didn't want to forget, because Steve brought up a very good point about meetings, we probably should at least talk a little bit before we go tonight about when we want to meet, in a regular basis. So it's not always, can everybody meet this day or that day? I just didn't want to forget that he brought up, we should think about dates and how often too. It's a good point.
Well, the proposals are due back, let me just double check here, December.
I think it's the 1st.
Yeah, I've moved a few dates around. The dates, I highlighted all the dates because those are not, those I'm gonna change. So it's gonna be out on the 25th. They're gonna be due back December 6th. And then we basically have the month of December for this, the evaluation committee and the mayor to award and do the contract and all that stuff. So the consultant really isn't going to be getting down into this stuff until after the 1st of the year. So if we want to have a meeting, like an update meeting, maybe like after we get the responses back, we can kind of report back to the selection committee. Some of the things are, I want to kind of like think about that. I don't know. I guess I would default to the committee because I can just email people and say we got 20 responses, and the selection committee and the 2 members of this committee will get the RFPs and go through them. And Lorraine C, she's our contract administrator. We had everything ready to go for last time with the evaluations and all kinds of stuff. So I would default to the committee if they want to meet in the meantime. Otherwise, we're looking at after the first of the year.
Liz, I think you had a question.
Well, I was wondering, do we want to maybe have some kind of an update after the informational session? But that could even just be an email.
We won't know a lot. Oh, you mean just who attended?
Just kind of like, how was it received? Do you think it was helpful? That type of thing.
Yeah, what kind of comments, questions they asked?
Yeah. I mean, it could probably just be as easy as an email update, sort of a status, maybe from Jen.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. How many people came? And yeah.
If you think it helped.
Steve has a question.
Sorry to keep harping on this, but
okay.
I think that's exactly why we need to be having meetings, because nobody in the public is informed about these things. And I know it's a lot easier to just send an email, but we have to get out of the habit of emailing internally in this group and do these things publicly. So, it might not be a lot of people that hear, but the people that want to know what's going on will have a venue for getting those updates.
Okay, we could do it as a meeting instead.
So that night is we decided November 10th. So it'd be great if we could, just because I have a tropical vacation plan the following week, it'd be great if we could potentially do it maybe the 11th or after the meeting.
The 11th is Veterans Day.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I think, when do you get back? I mean,
the 20th.
Oh.
But I would be happy to meet on the 10th and talk about who attended and give feedback.
That night?
At night? Is that a bad time? Because the next day might be a holiday. Is that?
It's fine.
I mean, I understand what Steve is saying, but I think for just the report on just what happened at the pre-bid, I don't think that really needs a public meeting. I think the update is more important when we get, the submissions and the status of the evaluation. To me, that's more important than the questions some consultants asked at a pre-bid in terms of public. I mean, we still can post any notes on the website so people can always see, but it just seems kind of difficult to stuff it in there. I mean, I want it to be useful. If we're going to have a meeting, we want it to be.
Okay.
I don't know if this matters to the committee or not, but I haven't had any inquiries from the public ever asking about the master plan process.
It's been on social media a little bit, but that's only next week. I'm not on Facebook.
But we've had one. It came to the council and the mayor's office, and that's why I'm, where are people supposed to go? There's no way for people to address this committee if we're not meeting.
Yeah.
Shelley has a hand up.
Yeah, so I just remember, and other people have more experience with this, but with like the school committee, they have that one email and then kind of funnels to one person, and then they kind of collect all the questions. I like that. And just on maybe because I own a salon and there's a lot of mothers and there's a lot of people in the community, and people's names were announced. I do have to say on a regular basis, I do get asked questions.
Oh, good.
I
That
do.
is
I do.
good.
And, you know, and of course, people, you know, in a lot of it's just, you know, like someone mentioned already was the schools. There's been a couple of questions and my response always is, oh, we're not that far yet because we have to hire the consultants and the request for proposals still out. And then there was like a little stirring, like, wait, is this not going to happen because we didn't get any requests for proposals? And I just say, you know, I haven't got the feedback yet. I'm assuming it's a timing thing, which is post-pandemic, but I'm sure we'll all get ironed out. That's kind of like my statement. And, you know, we're just not there yet, but I'm sure everything will come together. But there is, as
Well,
far
that's
as, kind of-
awesome.
yeah, there is interest. There's definitely interest.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's actually really good. Okay, so we doing a meeting on the 10th? What are we doing?
I mean,
would,
could you just like maybe just put the email out that was sent out, just saying, hey, update on the meeting. We had XYZ people show up.
Okay.
It was a half an hour presentation, and that really was it. I mean, if we're not even all going to be there, does it warrant one? And then just once the RFPs come in, then once we narrow it down, then have a meeting.
So that's actually a really good suggestion, because if people start to ask questions at this conference, you technically, you have to like post you really should, the questions and the answers to those
yes, you
questions.
should.
Yes, as part of, you know, so that the people that didn't come still have the information of what was asked and what the responses were.
Remember,
So
this is for the consultants.
That's right.
Clear to people what she's talking about is the public bidding for the consultants.
Right.
It's kind of Q&A so that everybody has the same information.
yeah, it's
Not
like a
public.
not an addendum, but kind of.
Well,
You
and
know, like
it's not geared toward the community per se.
no.
I'm just making it clear because, you know, these processes are not intuitive.
And Melissa, do you want me to take the questions and I may not have all the answers, but just take down the questions during that meeting so that we can go back and forth via email, and then you can post the questions and answers because you will need to post them.
Melissa,
Yeah, we can coordinate that a
Okay.
little bit later, Madam Chair. You and we have staff in the office as well too, so that
Okay.
if you want to kind of be more like listening, you know, and sometimes you're trying to focus on the meeting and kind of get a vibe of you know what's going on. So we can make sure that and if we do it on Zoom, then we can get the recording. And so I want the you know, the people there to be able to kind of, you know, listen without having a, you know, when you're listening and trying to writing, as I'm here tonight, I'm like, hold on a minute, you know.
Okay.
So we can figure out the logistics. I've got, you know, like I said, Ken's here with us now, so
Great.
I can breathe a little bit and you know, try to, you know, we work more as a team effort in the department. I will be the lead. Per the mayor, I am the project manager on the project and the point of contact for the consultant. But we can talk about that a little bit, Jen. If you wouldn't mind sending me your work email, and then we can just set up a time to have a call.
Sure.
I think that'd be great. Thank
Great.
you.
So that still brings us back to when do we meet next? And when is the RFP responses due, Melissa? What is the due date?
It's going to be December 6th, which I believe is a Monday.
So,
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are people suggesting that we should wait until we get those read, which will, I mean, hopefully we have like 30 responses and which will take your team
I'm
a little
hoping
time.
for like 4.
All right. Well, whatever.
Let's say 30.
We just don't want one. Like if we get one,
Well,
then
that's easy.
but it could be the wrong one.
Yeah.
So we
So one is better than none.
one.
Yeah, but anyway.
Yes.
Okay. So it would take how long for your team to weed out like someone that can't be considered because they're disqualified for different reasons?
Let me just check the schedule here.
Right, because the
Um,
second step would be for Rainer and I to then look at the ones that got sorted, right? And then those get
Yeah.
presented. Okay.
He's gonna
Yeah,
have
I mean,
a
I don't-
sheet, and there's gonna be like a, what I call the go, no go, like if somebody doesn't submit all the paperwork, well, that's, out, but
And that's out.
there'll be.
And who else is on that committee with you too? Who was the third person?
So I just want to get the answer to that first one, Madam Chair. So, we will have, the proposals will be reviewed. They're coming in on the 6th. So like probably a week, the 6th to the 13th. And then the next step, again, the dates in what I sent in the draft, they're all being pushed about a week or so. So the selection period, like the 6th to the 13th, we'll make the recommendation of the mayor, 14, 15. And then we'll stop the contract. I'd like them to try to, like, after the holidays, we can just like kind of hit the ground running. Nobody's got anything to do in January. No one's going out to eat. Everyone's pants are tight, everyone's out of money. So maybe people will want to come hang out at town hall.
So when is Raina and Shelley reviewing? When does that process take place?
It starts, they're coming in the 6th, so we'll get the stuff out to them that night.
Start, yeah.
Oh, so you'll review it from the get-go. You won't review it first to throw out anyone that's actually disqualified, that they will review it before then.
Well, it's like, we're gonna get, the disqualified, they would just score lower. If they didn't give a price proposal, they would be disqualified. But if they have 2 envelopes and there's a technical proposal in one, the price one we don't open until after, they'll just get circulated. I can't imagine that somebody, if you look at the evaluation criteria, if they don't provide something, then they just get
It's probably not necessary to do a 2-step process.
No, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
So it's probably a little quicker.
Yeah,
So that's good. Okay, so that'll go
Yeah.
over to you guys. And when do you want to have that meeting? Like, how long do you two need to review and get to a recommendation spot for the committee?
I defer to Raina. She has more experience with it.
Well, first of all, it depends how many we
it's gonna be
get.
a week. Yeah.
It's a difference between 4 and 14. But
Yeah.
also, I'm thinking, Melissa, that, we might, as a subcommittee, meet as an evaluation committee, because there's.
Yeah,
other
we will.
people on the committee. So we'll do that, and then there'll be a recommendation. So
Yep.
that'll be done sometime between the 6th and the 13th, within that week.
Yeah.
So-
I don't want to, I think, and these are not hard and fast. If we need more time, we need more time, but I want to try to,
We
you
should
know,
have
keep-
goals. We should, unless something really, these are good goals. We should move.
So then we if we look at the calendar, we're probably looking at would anyone consider Monday Tuesday the 21st or Monday the 20th?
Of December.
Yeah, maybe Tuesday the 21st. Is that too close to the holidays and too hectic?
Well, I'll
I
be
think
going
I
over.
actually, hold on. I'm sorry. I have so many meetings. I just need to just for 1 second.
Or even
I'll mention
like,
is, I think Melissa mentioned we might want to consider if we can meet Mondays, because I know there was one member, I think that was one of the few days that she could meet. So I don't know, that would be the 20th.
So the 20th, a Monday, the zoning board of appeals meets on that day. So the auditorium's not available. If you wanted to do it in person, we wouldn't have that room.
What about the Tuesday? No?
The 21st, I'm not available on the 21st.
how about Thursday, December 16th?
Well, what we could do is, we could at least do an update on that day, even if we didn't have
What is the purpose of this meeting? So we have a selection committee. And the
Right.
selection committee makes the recommendation to the mayor, and then the mayor makes the final call. So
Okay.
we don't want to be talking about, you know, what Raina thinks and what you think, you know, what I like.
Okay, so we don't want to
mean-
review their thought process?
Well, we at the first meeting, this group picked the 2 people that were going to be on the selection committee. We
Okay.
can't have 10 people, you know, we've got to.
No, I know. I
kinda-
mean, just so they, no, I don't mean we're going to review it, but like hear it, like hear, no,
Hear what?
like what they've
What they
decided.
recommend.
Okay,
Right.
that's what I'm asking, like,
Yeah,
but the
that
mayor,
they've
like,
decided on this company and, right.
so after the mayor picks the person and awards it, like, we can't come out and say, this is who we like, and the mayor is still thinking, because what if he decides that he doesn't?
Yeah, and
you
we
know what I'm
also have
saying?
to be a little careful about the process because
Yeah.
40B is kind of.
That's a little bit what I'm, like, we don't want to be talking about somebody, what I had said last time is we can always say like A, B, and C, consultant A, B, and C, and or something like that. It's just, we can't be like, yeah, we all like Jen Wadland Inc., you know, and that's our recommendation to the mayor, and something happens, the price doesn't work, you know, we got to be a little bit sensitive to, again, we're making a recommendation to him, but it's really his ultimate call to make that announcement. I've awarded the contract to so-and-so.
So do you
So-
suggest we just wait for that? So they make the recommendation, work with the mayor and on approval, and then we have our next meeting? Is that
That would
what?
be my recommendation. That's kind of how it's laid out in the RFP, and that's how it was laid out in the first RFP as well.
Okay, so why don't we go through the process, and then as soon as it's going to be proposed to the mayor, and he approves it, then we get a meeting on the books, like, because this could be a moving target. And so why don't we wait and say, well, we'd love to wrap this up by the end of the year and hope that it goes through your group and then the mayor's office by the end of the year.
That's the goal.
Oh,
Madam
Peter
Chair.
has a question.
Just a thought, and kind of reiterating Steve's sentiment. But if we were to meet on December 8th, 2 days after the RFPs are due, and hopefully it's a quick meeting where we get a report back that four RFPs were received and we're on track. But, you know, we've already done this once and we got 0. So if we get 0 again, I think we should have a meeting early December so we figure out, do we push this back out with more modifications and just keep this going so that, you know, it's been almost 5 months since our past meeting. So that would be my suggestion.
December 8th is a great day because I don't have another meeting that night. That would be a good point, to your point, Peter, to say, we got these, the selection committee's got them, and, you know, we're on target. Because I think that's, you know, I don't kind of gauging the committee. I think that, you know, there's probably concern that we're, you know, getting a little delayed, and I get it. You know, and people want to make sure that things are moving. I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can even, I think you might even be able to say who responded. You just can't really talk
Say
about
what
it.
the submissions were, but nothing about them, just the name.
Yeah,
We could say that.
yep.
So on December 8th, I'm actually in California for a meeting that will be like a night and day kind of meeting, like with my team. So I'm wondering, is it possible to do it on the 14th? And if it isn't, and you want to do it on the 8th, can someone chair the meeting for me?
The planning board meets that night. That's a tough night. That's
The 14th bad. Is the
Can you-
13th bad? The 14th, the 15th?
13th
just
is
that-
community preservation. I'm
Okay.
so sorry.
I know, no, I understand.
I am so,
So
believe
is it
me.
possible that the show goes on without me? Because I'm sure that everyone's capable of
Sure.
handling.
What about the 15th? Was there another meeting that night? I couldn't understand what Melissa said.
The 15th, I have a commitment in another community.
And the 16th, is that available?
Yeah, I can do the 7th, 8th, 9th. Are you gone just for one day, Madam Chair, or is it the whole
No.
week?
7th through the 10th.
Oh, okay.
What about
So I don't
the
want to slow
17th?
down the process.
Yeah, the
Oh, no, the
17th is, and now it's like the mayor's gonna already
Yeah, no,
have, it's
that's-
like too
and that's-
late.
Yeah.
Christmas parties,
know,
yeah.
Why don't we
Yeah.
do, let's see.
So is it possible? I mean, I think that you all are a bunch of brilliant minds and you've been doing this longer than I have. So is it possible to just meet? If I can't make the meeting, does that mean it has
No,
to?
we
Chair
can still,
can run the meeting.
yeah, we can have the
Vice Chair
meeting.
with Melissa can run the meeting.
Okay.
Kay can run the meeting. And is Kay still here?
I don't see her, but we want you to know what's going on, so.
Well,
Yeah,
I can listen to the meeting. Am I right? Like I can log in and it's recorded somewhere?
Yeah, we have recordings of, is it gonna be Zoom? I'm guessing it's gonna be Zoom, or are we gonna do in person? That's the first question, because I gotta get rooms and links and all that fun stuff that goes into.
I don't think it's going to be that big of an extensive meeting. Isn't it more like we got people or we didn't get people, right? And this is.
Right, but I
hopefully-
just want to know, Shelley, if we're gonna be in Zoom or we're gonna be in person.
Oh,
You know, when we the other thing too is like, I can constantly, like, we get updates, we get the bid list of like who's pulled it. So I could send out who's pulled it as well, like along the way. But I think that, and again, I don't want to not include anybody, but the 16th is like, we're going to be done with the evaluations and making a recommendation. So if people want to know how many we got and try to build some momentum and excitement about that, or that God forbid we didn't get any and, ruin the holidays, then we need to do something like, as Peter suggested, the 8th or something like that.
Will we know on the 6th if we have, do they have till midnight or is it like 5 p.m.?
No, it's 3:00. But we've got to kind of just like open them up.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I'm so
Well,
sorry.
I
but
think I can
that's
just listen to the
historical.
meeting and I can just listen to it after the fact.
Or we can, do you think it makes sense coordinating a different time? Because you'll be what, 3 hours behind us?
So I'm flying my whole team into California and we have activities every night. I'm
Too
sorry,
much
like
for
we
her.
have a very elaborate meeting.
Okay,
I
just
apologize.
trying to-
I only do this once a year. Well, I travel a lot, but I do this specific meeting once a year.
Okay,
So
got it. I got it.
yeah, it's a tricky one because
Got
it's
it.
my team around the country. So I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Just trying to accommodate if there was a 5-minute break between a
I
activity.
know.
Sounds
Yeah.
fun.
What about our team, Jen? Can you take us too?
Master plan outing?
I would love to.
Oh, God. All right, so we're going with the 8th.
Yeah, go with
Okay.
the 8th.
All right. What time?
And that's for sort of a status update?
Yep. Time?
Do we have
you've been
to,
doing 7, right?
I'm flexible. 5, 6, 7.
I could do any of those.
Any
Seven's
preference on
good.
time?
I think 7's good. We've met
Okay.
at 7 each time. Yeah.
like 6:30?
Okay.
Do you want to do Zoom just to make that a little easier to set up?
Totally up to you guys. That was going to be my next question.
Well, I defer. I can do either.
Zoom's
I
fine.
think Zoom. I think for this one, Zoom's
Zoom.
fine.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll just be a quick one and it'll
Yeah,
be.
so,
happy and-
Just to confirm, December 8th, 7:00 Zoom. We got all those recordings, Madam Chair, and we can share that with you. depending on the file size, we might put it on a USB. And or, you know, if you're out there and you have a few minutes and you want to check in, you know, we can do that as
Okay.
well. Yep.
I will. Okay. Okay, so the other point was approving the minutes from May 27th. Is that's on the agenda? So we approved the minutes from that's a long time ago. So we approved the minutes from the past. Is that what?
Yeah, well, we haven't had a meeting, so we
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so
And we'll try to keep up with the minutes. Ken's taking notes tonight. But once we get into this, I did get some money in the budget for a recording secretary. I don't know if anybody knows anybody in the community that wants to make a little extra money. But once we get kind of up and running, like I'm taking notes tonight, but that won't be productive when there's, you know, a lot of moving parts and whatnot going on. So I'm going to try to get a recording secretary on board, especially when we get into these larger meetings and whatnot. And Ken's raising his hand. I was just gonna
oh, sorry, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. I didn't either.
Never really a good way to kind of just jump in and say whatever, but actually in response to that, I actually did get a reply from the previous guy that we had. It came in a couple days later because of the weird email situation I've had with a lot of things. When I send it out, it comes back to me as spam, but I can forward that to you, Melissa, because he had a couple questions about the dates and stuff, but there was somebody that we used to have in my previous job that would do our minutes for us. He's actually a court steno by training, but he wouldn't do transcripts for us, but his minutes were quite detailed. So he just had a few questions, and I think at the time you were inundated with work, so I wasn't going to jump in with a silly question like that, but I did have that.
So we'll look into that, and I think that's important to have the minutes and to have them available. You know, I'd in an ideal world, we'd have them, you know, every meeting. And the administrative staff in this office is already doing so many minutes. It's just not, we can't do anymore. So we'll look into that, but I think that'll be, I don't think anyone disagrees that we should have a recording secretary. Is that a consensus?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So yes, those minutes are from.
Okay, so do I need to make a motion to approve the minutes from May 27th?
No, you can ask for a motion. I mean, and the chair typically is a non-motion maker.
Okay,
in
I will
most
not make the
worlds.
motion then. Does anyone want to make the motion?
Madam Chairwoman, I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes of May 27th, 2020.
And is there a second?
Second.
And now do we have to do a vote, or are we?
Yeah, who seconded that?
I think
Liz?
someone else did too.
Liz and
both
David.
Mr. Cunningham and Ms. Page.
Yeah, well, we'll get you next time, Dave.
It's okay.
Yes, and if you, would you like me to do the roll call vote, Madam Chair?
Please, yes.
Okay. So, and actually, Madam Chair, you will not be voting on these because you were not part of the committee at that time. So
Makes sense.
when-
Mhm.
I won't, don't be offended when I don't call your name. So just have the record reflect, Member Young has left the meeting. And then we have a Member Sasha,
Yes.
Member Herbst,
Aye.
Member North,
Aye.
Member Cunningham,
Aye.
Member Page,
Aye.
and Member Rubin.
Aye.
So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was only 6, right? Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Three.
Yeah,
There's only 6 eligible to vote.
yeah.
Enough? Yeah, that's a majority. Do we need
It's
more?
the
Do
majority, yeah. Yeah,
we need more than that?
it's a kind of a weak vote, but whatever. You guys are the only ones here, so where are the rest of the people? So that'll be 6. We'll have to clarify that because they're going to be like, "What? This is the wrong vote. Copy this from the planning board." 6-0, and then we'll have member Wadland as abstaining. The others aren't here, so there was just the 7. Wadland. Okay. And just a quick question, because I know different boards have different preferences and whatnot. Was the level of detail in these minutes acceptable? Did this seem like a good level of detail to summarize what happened at the meeting?
I thought it was pretty detailed.
Okay.
Yes.
I found it
Okay.
fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was happy with it.
All right. Great. Thank you. We just like to try to get, we're in like planning board meeting mode where we're writing, as they're a little bit more detailed, given, the things we're talking about and whatnot. So, and we want to, just in case we have litigation, make sure that our minutes are very strong. So, I just want to thank everybody, for this meeting tonight and being able to get together. And, again, just remind people, I'm here all day, most days into the evenings, and available for any calls. Jen, Madam Chair, excuse me, if we want to hook up and kind of just figure out these next few things that we need to work on, and then to just recap my notes, Raina and the chair are going to put together some comments for the intro. Is that correct in my notes?
Yes.
If I could have that, no rush, if I could have it by Friday
No rush.
afternoon.
Raina
Sure.
has more experience, so Raina's gonna
I'm
really,
going to draft it, and I'm
again,
going
she's gonna draft it, and
book.
I'll look at it, and
I
I'm sure it's,
can't
yeah,
chance,
I'm sure it's
you know.
great,
You
and
tweak
I'll
it.
forward.
It's a
Okay,
Okay. What did you
but
say?
no rush.
Time,
Friday.
Melissa?
Friday by noon, please.
Okay. Well, I'll do it. We'll do it before that.
Okay.
Perfect.
Awesome. The best motion of the night, Madam Chair. Call for it.
Okay, so this is the meeting can adjourn?
Yeah.
Yes. Is that the best motion of the night? Okay.
Well, it depends on what time it is. We were here last night till 11. So last night
Oh,
it was
boy.
the best motion of the night.
Well, good
Only
night,
8:30.
everyone. And does somebody have to second it, or does someone have to make it? So I'm not supposed to
Yep.
motion.
Somebody
Motion
can
to
make it.
adjourn.
Seconded.
Great. All right. Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Take a
All
roll.
right.
Thank you. Good night.
Raina will be in touch, and Melissa, I'll be in touch with you as well.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.